welcome. This is Dennis.
Lacey, it's good to see you guys back. Thank you so much for returning to our Becoming Whispers of Eternity channel. We really appreciate you being here. We've got a really interesting show today. It's a little on the shorter side, which might be something that you appreciate, but we're just going to be talking to you about choosing our very first songs. We want to remind you before we get into that Mr. Joe Beck is going to be on our program next week. We're going to be interviewing him. And last week we kind of did an introduction of who he is and some of his accomplishments. So if you didn't get a chance to watch that, go back and watch last week's video so you can kind of know something about him. But definitely join us next week when we get to talk to him because he's a really funny guy. He's going to be a lot of fun to talk to. Also, just to let you know, we've had a lot of people, friends and families, and some new friends now, ask us both on our Facebook page and here on our YouTube channel how they could be helping us. Last week we talked about what it is that we've been kind of experiencing and going through this whole Alzheimer's journey with my mom. And because people care about us, they ask how they can help. And honestly, we can tell you from the bottom of our hearts that probably the number one way you can help us right now is as simple as liking our videos, watching some of the stuff that we put out, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. I know it sounds like a silly thing that you don't think has any effect at all, but as this channel grows, it really has the potential to help us take care of ourselves, let people know about Alzheimer's. It grows a community. It really just helps us in a lot of ways. So we ask that you would please do that. Thank you so much if you already have, and we appreciate you being here.
Absolutely, and you know, your comments are something that we do react to. We had somebody ask us for one of the songs that we had done in our very first video, Come, and asked us if we could post that as the song all by itself, and we did that. So when you give us comments, we're going to do our best to react to those as well. So just come along the journey with us. All right, I'm going to teach Lacey the magic trick that I did in the last episode. This is gonna be great! All right, it's magic time. Last week, I did the coolest magic trick and disappeared right before your very eyes. This week, and there was some embarrassing parts of that, but I'm not gonna talk about that.
No.
This week, I taught Lacey the same trick.
You guys.
It's gonna be the coolest. So she's gonna perform this magic trick.
Okay, I've never done a magic trick before, so I'm really excited about this. Okay, are you ready? I've practiced really hard. I really have. Okay, ready? Okay, I'm gonna close my eyes because I'm just so excited. Okay, one. Sorry, one more time. 1, 2, 3. Sorry.
Oh no. I wonder where I am this time. At least I've got clothes on this time.
Now that we're all back in the same room, I'm sorry about that, Dad.
I'm
going to keep practicing. I'm going to get better at this, I promise.
Yeah, well, we need to.
All right, so how we chose our first songs, because that's what we're really going to get into today. So how did we choose our first songs?
Well, we went through a process. This was our set list, actually, from our first show. We went through a process of just deciding on songs that was a little more random than you would think. But because this was an Alzheimer's event, it was a fundraiser for Alzheimer's, a lot of the songs that I had been writing and the things that I had written were either related to Wendy, or love songs, or related to Alzheimer's and the journey that we're going through, or they were our reaction actually to Alzheimer's and what's going on with all of that. And so the first song on our list was a song called Beautiful Girl, which was a song I wrote for Wendy, actually with Bob Paterno, a good friend of mine, co-writer of mine. And it was kind of a funny song because we wanted to kind of start off a little bit funny, humorous. Then a song I signed up for this, which was the song that you saw me perform to Wendy actually on last week's video.
Mm-hmm.
And then He Will Carry Me, which was actually a song that Mark Schultz cut and made a big old hit out of, but the original version of that, which is the version that we do, was written for my mom's memorial service. She asked me to write a song for her memorial service when she was dying of cancer, essentially. And so we did the original version of that. And then
after that, I actually got to choose a song, and I chose Give Me Jesus, which is a public domain song that many of us have probably sang in church or heard of before. And we rearranged it to kind of fit the vibe of our sound and what we were feeling in reaction to some of the Alzheimer's disease walk that we've kind of gone through. And so that was the fourth song on that set list. And then I think the last song that we did was an original that my dad wrote for that fundraiser. It's amazing how quickly sometimes God will reveal something to you, but he wrote Wake Up in Heaven for that fundraiser, also as a reaction of what Mom was experiencing and going through. And I'll let you talk a little bit about that song.
Yeah, I mean, Wake Up in Heaven it's a bit of a difficult song, but it's a joyful song. Eventually, you're going to hear all of these songs on our channel eventually. But that was sort of our beginning set list.
Yeah.
And
well, and honestly, we kind of had planned like any other performer plans a show. And if you're a performer, you know this. If you're not, you'll learn very quickly that just like you have to outline, a research paper, it's best that you outline any kind of live performance. Number one, because you're very excited. There's a lot of nerves and adrenaline involved in a first performance in front of people, and it's very easy to skip over important parts of something. So you usually write it all down, and a lot of people will call that a set list, or I don't even know if there is another word for it, but we wrote out our set list, and in that set list you include the order of the songs you want to write and talking points in between, even sometimes the people that you want to thank. And I don't want that to sound inauthentic at all, because truly you care so much about making sure that you say and thank all the people that you really need to thank, that you write it down so you don't miss it.
Yeah, and we put all that on a laminated sheet because this was an outdoor concert. And outdoor venues are famous for the wind coming up and blowing all of your planning away.
And then everybody else sees your set list and you don't know what's coming up next because you're nervous.
Yeah. So we laminated it. It was taped to the floor. It was big fun. The other thing that we did is we had to choose, which we decided about 2 weeks before, I think, that we were going to do a CD, which
is a ridiculous short amount of
time to do a CD. But we chose a couple of songs, Give Me Jesus and Wake Up in Heaven, partly because Give Me Jesus was a vocal acoustic guitar thing, and it was easily done and sent over to our producer to mix and put all the magic stuff that he does, the pixie dust that he sprinkles on things, makes it amazing. And then Wake Up in Heaven, which was a new song that I was in the process of doing a demonstration for, so I sort of just amped up the demonstration to do a master recording of, sent it over to Sal Oliveri, our producer.
He's amazing, by the way.
He is a brilliant keyboard player and just a great arranger, and he did amazing stuff with it and made us sound just much better than we really are.
Yeah.
So those were the two songs that ended up on the CD. We finished them. We got them to Sal. He mixed them. We got them to a duplicator. We got artwork done. Especially, we want to thank Fred Breeden for
gosh, the most amazing photographer you'll ever meet, and he's got some really just amazing shots in all kinds of different art, not just in music. He does a lot of sports shots too, but he blessed us and made it possible for us to have artwork.
That's exactly right, and God blessed us. I mean, some of the shots that we took were in a morning where there was fog, and it was amazing.
We'll talk about that morning someday, because it was exactly a magical morning. You deserve to hear that story.
But in a 2-week period of time, we went from just having a list of songs to having a piece of product in our hands, duplicated and ready to take in and help out with the cause.
And we were able to make enough copies that we sold some at that show. And to be honest, we still have a few of those left, not many. So in case anybody who's watching wants a copy of that, feel free to try to contact in the comments, and we'll talk about how we can get that to you. But we don't have very many. I think in the future, if we have enough people interested, maybe we can do another run of that at the Duplicator. But we can't do that right now because we don't have the money to do that right now.
No, we don't have the money to do that right now. But that's how we go through our process of choosing songs, at least on this particular part of our journey.
And after we chose the songs, we had never performed before, ever, together. So we had some work to do. We spent about 2 months practicing in a room in our house with mics and with sound equipment just to try to get used to what it feels like to perform in front of people because we had no practice doing that.
It's amazing the difference. Like when we started out practicing, of course you practice the songs yourself, but then you start rehearsing it together, and I'm sitting on a couch in my living room and she's on the other couch singing, and we're singing it live into a room. Well, then as soon as you put mics in front of you, there's something that changes about all of that. You get the monitors and all of that.
It takes on kind of a magical life of its own, to be honest.
Yeah.
There's this moment that happens, even if nobody's there to watch it but you guys and God. There's this really neat moment that happens, and the more times you do that, I think the more comfortable you get in that moment, and it's exciting to share that with other people when you finally get in front of an audience.
Yeah, that was very cool. That's our process.
So, we've been talking a lot about our beginnings, and you've gotten to hear some more in-depth stories about some of the stuff that's kind of hard in our journey right now. And sometimes when you're in the middle of a really hard place, you have to intentionally make time for fun and for adventures because life goes on, even if you don't always want it to. It does go on. And so this week, I had the opportunity to do something really fun. I don't know how many people have written out their bucket list, but I have, because I'm selfish and vain and like making lists. And so one of the things on my list was to go stand-up paddleboarding. And I got the opportunity to do that at a place called Paddleboard Nashville. And it was so much fun. So what you're gonna see next is my poor movie making skills and some shots of me not getting wet on a stand-up paddleboard.
There you go.
Oh boy, today I'm doing something I've always wanted to do, but I've never actually had the guts to try it. And I'm gonna try it today. Today I'm going stand-up paddleboarding for the first time ever, which is extreme and so exciting and terrifying at the same time. I'm gonna be taking a class with a very good friend of mine, Stacy Marshall, at the Nashville Paddle Company, which is kind of off of Percy Priest Lake, or at least a part of it, I think, if I understand it correctly, here in Nashville, Tennessee. And I have no idea what I'm doing, so I'm probably gonna fall a lot, and lake water you can't see all the way through, so it's not like swimming in a pool because you don't know what's in there with you, and I'll be honest, that freaks me out. So there's probably going to be some screaming, and hopefully I won't make a huge fool out of myself. I'm trying really hard to make this little adventure something that I'm just crazy excited about, and hopefully I make a habit out of it because I think it would be really good to be doing something like this on a regular basis, especially with friends. Just the adventure side of it. It sounds like just so much fun. So anyway, here we go. Come join me. Okay, so we just did the stand-up paddleboarding adventure of a lifetime. And I can now honestly say, with one experience under my belt, this is like my new favorite thing in the world to do. In the world, you guys. It's so much fun. There's something magical about like being in the middle of a lake on your own little private island, and nobody has to control you. You can go wherever you want to. You can stay as long as you want to. You can bring just about anything you want to with you. It is amazing. I am in love. And if you guys ever want to check it out, go to, let's see, Nashville Paddle Company. They are amazing. The people there are so kind. They're really knowledgeable. They love to teach, and they're very patient. And it was just a blast. You will have a blast too. So check them out. I'm sure you can find them. That was fun, wasn't it?
Looks like it was really cool.
It was a blast. And I'll be honest, I could do that every day of my life, but I won't get a chance to. Anyway, please make sure you join us next week for Joe Beck. Oh my gosh. You will miss out on one of the funniest guys I've ever met in my life if you do not show up. So please come back and listen to what he has to say and to teach us, because he's got a lot of really great knowledge. Also, again, when we get to the end of these videos, I just have to ask you, please like and subscribe our channel. I know it sounds like a silly thing to do, and if you're enjoying watching, even if it's hard to watch, it blesses us, every single person that subscribes, every time you watch, every time you comment. It makes a big difference for us. So please continue doing that. We really appreciate you joining us on this journey.
Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you next week.
We bless you in all that you do as you are becoming what God intends you to be.
Amen.
Have a great week.
We'll see you.